The influence of predecessors on Ibn Arabi's mystical philosophy. Ibn Arabi's mystical philosophy is a rich tapestry woven from a variety of intellectual traditions. He brilliantly combined earlier Sufi teachings, Neoplatonic ideas, and Islamic theology to create a unified metaphysical framework. Drawing on the insights of philosophers, ascetics, and ecstatic mystics who came before him, Ibn Arabi refined concepts such as Wahdat al-Wujud, which is the unity of existence, and al-Insan al-Kamil, the perfect human. His work reflects an ongoing conversation with predecessors like Ibn Masarra, al-Hallaj, Abu Yazid al-Bistami, and others, all of whom influenced his unique blend of rational thought and mystical experience within the vibrant intellectual setting of Andalusia. The Andalusian philosophical inheritance. Born in 1165 and remembered as al-Shaykh al-Akbar, the greatest master, Ibn Arabi stands as a towering figure in Islamic mysticism and philosophy. His writings weave together the spiritual depth of Sufism, the analytical clarity of metaphysical inquiry, and the interpretive richness of Quranic studies. In exploring his contributions, we see how he merged mystical insight with philosophical precision, especially through his doctrines of the unity of existence and the perfect human. His work has sparked debates about originality and legacy, yet his synthesis of ideas continues to influence Islamic thought today. Ibn Masarra and Neoplatonic foundations. At the heart of Ibn Arabi's thought lies the idea of divine unity, a concept deeply influenced by the Andalusian philosopher Muhammad ibn Masarra. Ibn Masarra's work bridged Mu'tazilite theology and Neoplatonic thought, suggesting that creation flows from God through a series of intermediaries. Ibn Arabi took this idea and transformed it into a dynamic vision, where creation is seen as the unfolding of divine names and attributes. By asserting that reason and revelation ultimately converge on the oneness of God, Ibn Masarra provided a vital model for how to reconcile deep philosophical inquiry with the insights of the Quran. The legacy of Ibn Rushd, or Averroes. A pivotal moment in Ibn Arabi's life was his youthful encounter with the rationalist philosopher Ibn Rushd, known in the West as Averroes. Their dialogue, as recounted in Ibn Arabi's own writings, contrasted the analytical methods of philosophy with the more intuitive process of mystical revelation. This meeting encouraged Ibn Arabi to place greater emphasis on experiential knowledge, using philosophical ideas as tools to express Sufi insights rather than as ends in themselves. For instance, while Ibn Rushd's ideas about the soul's progression inspired him, Ibn Arabi reimagined this ascent as a transformative journey marked by the annihilation, or fana, of the self in the divine presence. Sufi precursors and ecstatic mysticism. Abu Yazid al-Bistami, annihilation and divine identity. Abu Yazid al-Bistami is best known for his ecstatic expressions, including his famous exclamation, "Glory to me." Ibn Arabi interpreted these statements not as blasphemy, but as profound declarations of the soul's complete merging with divine attributes. In his work Fusus al-Hikam, Ibn Arabi reinterprets al-Bistami's mystical experiences as moments when the mind realizes that all apparent separateness dissolves in God's all-encompassing unity. Al-Hallaj, martyrdom and the paradox of union. The mystic al-Hallaj, who declared "I am the truth" and ultimately paid with his life, became a symbol of both devotion and the dangers of mystical excess. Ibn Arabi admired al-Hallaj's deep commitment while carefully distancing his own thought from any notion of lawlessness. He saw al-Hallaj's martyrdom as a powerful metaphor. Just as the mystic's physical form was broken, the underlying divine unity remained whole and undivided. Junayd al-Baghdadi and the sobriety of Sunni Sufism. In contrast to the more ecstatic figures, Junayd al-Baghdadi embodied a sober, disciplined approach to Sufism that emphasized adherence to Islamic law. Ibn Arabi drew on Junayd's ideas to explain how even the recognition of the self's annihilation can itself be transcended, paving the way for a lasting state of subsistence in God. This balance allowed him to present mystical experiences as important, yet temporary stages in a disciplined spiritual journey. Synthesis of philosophical and mystical traditions. Al-Ghazali's reconciliation of Sufism and orthodoxy. A century before Ibn Arabi, al-Ghazali had already demonstrated that Sufi practices could coexist harmoniously with Islamic law. His focus on purifying the heart laid the groundwork for integrating mysticism into everyday religious life. Ibn Arabi expanded on this idea by universalizing Sufi concepts, presenting the perfect human as a cosmic representative of divine attributes. a role that deepened the connection between inner spiritual transformation and the broader order of creation. Sahal al-Tustari's Hermeneutics of Light. The mystic Sahal al-Tustari introduced a symbolic way of reading the Quran, using the imagery of light to reveal deeper cosmic and psychological truths. Ibn Arabi embraced this method, applying it to his interpretation of sacred texts. For example, his understanding of the light verse evolved into a profound vision of the Prophet Muhammad's pre-existent essence, offering a template for understanding the perfect human as the ultimate reflection of divine reality. Theological and cosmological innovations, from Mu'tazilite theology to ontological unity. Ibn Arabi's early exposure to Mu'tazilite thought, which emphasizes the transcendence of God, played an important role in shaping his ideas. However, he moved beyond their strict rationalism by arguing that God's incomparability also implies an intimate presence in creation. In his view, the world is not separate from God, but is a continuous, self-revealing manifestation of divine reality, a concept that became central to his idea of the unity of existence. Neoplatonic emanation reimagined. While Ibn Arabi was influenced by Neoplatonic thought, he transformed its hierarchical model of emanation into a more fluid and dynamic understanding of existence. Instead of a fixed sequence of stages from the one to the many, he envisioned reality as a constantly unfolding process where divine names and attributes continually manifest new forms. This approach allowed him to reconcile classical philosophical ideas with the creative narratives of the Quran. Conclusion: a tapestry of influences. Ibn Arabi's mystical philosophy did not emerge in isolation. It grew out of a deep engagement with the rich intellectual and spiritual traditions of his time. By blending the rational rigor of figures like Ibn Rushd with the ecstatic insights of mystics such as al-Bistami and al-Hallaj, and by integrating the sober discipline of Junayd, the theological depth of al-Ghazali, and the symbolic readings of Sahal al-Tustari, Ibn Arabi created a comprehensive system that speaks to both the mind and the heart. His work continues to inspire and challenge, offering a profound vision of a world where all existence is an ever-unfolding expression of the divine.